सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथाः मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनम्। तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथाः. This mantra says Bhunjitaha, Palayataha, may you protect your knowledge by Tyaktena, Tyagena, by renunciation, meaning by giving up the Ishanatra, all the desires. Desires, also called Ishana, are classified as Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokeshana. Desire for progeny, desire for wealth, desire for the world. This is a purely Vedic thing. Our desire will be classified this way, but why are the desires classified this way? It's because in the Vedic times, people were aspiring to reach different lokas, different realms. Ayam lokaha, the realm of the human beings. Pitralokaha, the intermediate realm. Svargalokaha, the realm called heaven. And again Upanishad says, Putrena ayam lokaha jayaha. This world of human can be assured if you have progeny, son. Because he will perform the various rites after departure from here, and that will assure you the birth in human world. Karmana Pitralokaha, if you perform the Vedic karmas as prescribed, you are assured of the Pitraloka. Vidya Devalokaha, if you perform the meditations on Devatas, you are assured of the world of the heavens. Well, anyway, this may not be relevant today, but that's how three Ishanas come. So, Putra is the sadhanam, means for attaining this world, and Vitta is sadhanam for attaining the other worlds. And Loka is sadhya, what you want to attain. Anyway, in short, there is only one desire in our life, and that is happiness. And therefore, there can be desire for means of happiness also. So, means and end. But whatever desires there are, they all are a result of giving reality to my sense of limitedness. Giving reality to my lack or want, which is what I feel. First mantra talked about those who have the viveka, who have the ability to contemplate, discriminate, and recognize that these desires, in fact, are not legitimate. in view of the essential nature of myself, which is Purna, the desires have no role or not legitimate. They are products of ignorance. So those who are able to see this, for them, their life will not be devoted to pursuit of desires, but then pursuit of knowledge. So the first mantra gives us the vision of life. Ishavastyam idam sarvam. Whatever there is Ishvara, and may you know Ishvara as your own self. And the way to know is by tyaga, renunciation of becoming free from desires by viveka and adopting a way of life which is called vividisha sannyasa, which is conducive to pursue the knowledge. But then those who are not free from desires, those mumukshus, all right, mean there is a maturity in the person. Recognize that moksha alone deserves to be the goal of my life. This is by understanding, by listening to the teachers, by being exposed to the teaching of scriptures. This much has become clear, that the desire behind all my desires is for unconditional happiness. Not only do I want happiness, but I want unconditional happiness. Not only do I want freedom, but I want unconditional freedom. That unconditional freedom, unconditional happiness has to be something which is uncreated. Otherwise it is always so uncreated happiness, which is a self. So if this much viveka is there, that what I am seeking is this unconditional freedom or moksha is what I am seeking. And of course the knowledge is the means for that. But then I presently do not possess that disposition of mind wherein I can commit myself to simply the pursuit of knowledge, because I still need to make my mind mature. I still need emotional maturity. I know that what I am seeking is moksha. I know that the self-knowledge is the means to moksha. But I also require that self-knowledge which can be gained by shravanam, mananam, listening to the teacher, manam, reflection, requires a state of mind called antahkarana shuddhi. This will become effective, beneficial, if I possess the shuddhi or purification of mind. Meaning that when my mind is essentially free from raga dveshas. Mind is largely sattvic mind. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. In mind that enjoys sattva, the knowledge takes place. So this understanding is there, that I need to cultivate that mind. I need to gain that maturity. Our Pujya Swami called emotional maturity. And emotional maturity was simply explained as the freedom from impulses, ragadveshas. I am not controlled by impulses, that I retain the poise of mind. In spite of the impulses, I am able to deal with them, resolve them. So that person has freedom to do what he or she wants to do. But what is necessary is to acquire that kind of mind which is traditionally called Shuddhantahkaranam, the pure mind, mind free from impulses of attachment, aversion, anger, greed, which are the usual things there. Lord Krishna says, Trividham, Narakasthedam, Dvaram, Nashanam, Atmanah, Kamaha, Krodha, Tatha Lobha, Tasmat, etat trayam tyajet. Here Arjuna, the kama, the lust, krodha, the anger, lobha, the greed, these are means to naraka, means suffering, or all suffering in our life comes from this thing. All pain or suffering comes from anger, greed. Tasmat etat trayam tajet. Therefore, Arjuna, may you therefore give up these three. Eter vimuktah kaunteya tamodvara hi tirvirnarah आचरत्यात्मन श्रेय ततो याति पराम गतिम. So one, Lord Krishna says one who has gained essentially freedom from these inner impulses. Tato yadi, then he really starts helping himself, he starts doing good to himself and ultimately attains param gatim, attains moksha. So Lord Krishna also says that freedom from the impulses of kama, krodha, lobha is the first step for helping me, helping myself, for my helping myself. Atmana shreya, then I am on the path of the shreya, the well-being, the fulfillment of the self, through pursuit of knowledge. Therefore, the first step is to gain that kind of mind. Arvruksho muner yogam karma karanam uchyate. Yoga arudesa tasyeva shamah karanam uchyate. Again, Lord Krishna is the one who wants to mount the horse of yoga, of atma vichara, of contemplation upon the self through shravanam mananam. For that person, karma, the karma yoga is the means of attaining that mind which makes this person ready for shravanam mananam nididhyasanam. Yoga rudasya, once you gain that mind, then shamaha karanam uchyate, then you give up that karma and do shravanam manam. So this is the two-stage spiritual pursuit. This is, the spiritual pursuit is identified or described in Bhagavad Gita as a two-stage pursuit. Lokesmin dvidhanistha pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. First is karma yoga, then sankhya yoga. So what the sankhya yogis do is described in the first mantra. The preparation for that, the second mantra describes what the karma yogis should do. So this second mantra describes the karma yoga. That is why some scholars tell us that these two mantras of all Ishavasya Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita has its source in Ishavasya Upanishad. That's one way of saying. Because two nishthas are described, Jnana Nishtha and Karma Nishtha. And Jivan Mukti. So, with that introduction, that the second mantra describes Karma Yoga, which is performing karma with a certain attitude to prepare the mind for a full-time pursuit of knowledge. Everybody pursues knowledge. All of you are. That you are here, you have value for this, all of this shows that it is there. And still, it is important that each one of us also simultaneously strives to get rid of whatever impurities there are. So while you are listening to the classes in many ways at your home and other ways also, everybody I met, is studying one way or the other, which is great. But simultaneously, we should also be alert or awareful about making our mind free from this residual, whatever impulses are left in our mind, raga dvesha, we should be striving to make our mind free from any residual impurity, raga dvesha that are left. And karma is said to be the means. It's not so much karma that is means of removing raga dvesha. It is karma, yoga. Yoga means the attitude with which karma is performed, that is the means of purification of mind. Impurity means certain attitude, and purity means certain attitude. Now, why do you call it karma yoga? Because karma becomes the occasion to entertain their attitude. Karma is a very amazing thing. When I am about to perform an action, then my mind, more often than not, comes up with a question, what is in it for me? So whatever is there and stored inside, it becomes manifest when I am about to do something. My utilitarian mind, self-centered mind, asks me a question, what is in it for me? That's called mind or ahankara. So that is when we come to know that this kind of attitudes are there in us. This karma triggers what is there within my mind. It brings to surface the reactions which are there in my mind. The greed may be there, anger may be there, jealousy may be there, temptations may be there. But they may not be evident under normal conditions. It is when I am about to do something, that is when my mind always says, what am I going to get out of that? So that is when we get an acquaintance of our own mind. That's why karma yoga. Lord Krishna is extremely practical. Lord Krishna, of course, has to be, but he knows that number one, karma everybody has to do because that's the only way you live your life. In the third chapter of the Gita, Lord Krishna says, Nai kaschit kshanapi jatu tishtyatya karmakrit. Even for a moment, a person cannot remain inactive. Most people. Karyate hyavasah karma sarvah prakrutijair gunaihi. Because everyone is helplessly made to do things. Meaning, mostly people do not perform karma themselves, they are made to do things. Who makes me do things? Prakritijahi gunaihi. The gunas, the dispositions of Prakriti, the rajastamas, the ragadveshas, they impel me to action. That's why I can't sit quietly. The reason why I cannot sit quietly, even if I have least time, it's not easy to enjoy that time. This man comes home after hard work to have some leisure at home, and his wife brings him a cup of coffee, and the first thing he pulls out is newspaper. Nowadays, of course, his cell phone and his whatever, WhatsApp, whatever it is, that he needs to be engaged. When he will start TV, he'll do something. Because the mind has a difficulty to be with itself. Because the most difficult entity for me to be with is myself. Not only spouse. Spouse may be most difficult entity, but before that I am the most difficult entity, really. It's easy to blame others. But why is, spouse is an example, please, but any person, why do I think is difficult? Because I managed to push buttons and create an uncomfortable self from within myself. I always deal with myself. And therefore, whether I am comfortable or uncomfortable is depending on what buttons are pushed. Some people have an uncanny knack of pushing some buttons. That is why I am not comfortable with them. I avoid them. I don't dislike them. But the problem is not with them. They have an uncanny knack of pushing those buttons, reminding me of the wrong things that I want to forget. Talking about things I'm uncomfortable with. That's the things, part of me that I want to avoid. I don't want to confront some part of me. I don't want to confront my failures, my embarrassments. There are a lot of things I'm ashamed of in myself or not comfortable with. And usually I want to avoid them. And some people make me confront that by telling me, reminding me, pushing buttons. My discomfort is with myself, but however, since that person becomes instrumental, I dislike that person. I'm just telling this mechanism so we understand. So from now on, when there is a dislike for some person, just think, who do I dislike? I dislike the self that this person triggers. And what they have their own stuff, after all, and so they are there. But the ego keeps putting button of everybody else in this world and makes everybody else miserable. So we have to just deal with this uncomfortable self, and I keep on rearranging my life, I change this job, that job, this house, that house, this, thinking that setup will, create a comfortable self. No. That comfortable, I have to create, and I have to work for that. And that is what Karma Yoga does. Meaning that this is what yoga, our Pujya Swamiji say, Karma Yoga means yoga of attitude. Some amazing insights he had in simple sentences. It is yoga of attitude. Karma is only incidental. Karma becomes incidental in entertaining that attitude. You follow? So it's called Karma Yoga, which is fine. But then karma or action that we perform is an occasion for me to entertain that attitude. Thus, in its own words, we have to, that this verse talks about Karma Yoga is something that we have to derive. But anyway, traditionally, the second mantra describes the Karma Yoga. In the language, it may not be very clear to us, but let us read the second mantra. Kurvanneveha karmani jijivishechatam samaha evam tvainanyathaitosti na karma lipyate nare. The last quarter of this mantra. Na karma lipyate nare. Nara means a human being. Nare in a human being. So Bhashyakara says Nare. Nara matra abhimanini. Who is a Nara? The one who has this notion that I am a Nara, that I am a human being. Everybody need not have that notion. A wise person who has become free from identification with the body doesn't have that notion that I am a Nara. Understand? That is the reason why the Vedic command cannot affect him, because he says a man should do this, a Brahmana should do this. Who is that? Because he doesn't call himself Brahmana or something, therefore these commands don't apply to him. That's called freedom. as long as there is identification of body, the nara means human being is the nature of body. So here we talked about nare. Nara means, so na karma lipyate nare, that karma or the action will not taint this human being, will not become the cause of unhappiness. The karma, if performed with a certain attitude, can become the cause of happiness, and same karma performed with a different attitude can become cause of unhappiness. Meaning that by performing karma or action, we can create happiness for ourselves or we can create unhappiness for ourselves. And everybody wants happiness, not recognizing that it is I who create happiness for myself, it is I who create unhappiness for myself. Even though it's easy to blame others, but then others cannot do that to me if I do not allow them to do. Somebody cannot make me unhappy if I do not cooperate with them. What can you do? So what can somebody do? Swami, that person insulted me. Okay. He said this word and those words. Okay. He said that. What does it matter to you? His opinion. You need not make it your opinion. Then there is no problem. You follow. So somebody says something. Why should I get hurt? That's what he says. He or she says. That is their opinion. If the simple Viveka is that this is their opinion, it's fine. What do? I make it my opinion. And then I feel hurt. And then I blame that person. In any way, so I am being affected because that is how my mind is a projecting mind. As long as my mind is projecting, it will keep on doing this. Project what does not belong to me, he can project upon oneself. This is called projecting mind, mind at the control of rajas, raga, dveshas. Therefore, what creates unhappiness for ourselves, or that because of which I create unhappiness for myself, is simply said to be raga and dvesha. Indriyasya indriyasyarthe raga dvesha vyavasthito. Lord Krishna says that even as you are born by default, and this default is an important, that's a word that I have learned now, by default, means that I have not done it. Then what? It is something that is given to me, something that is, I don't know what to say, loaded upon me, is that we are born with a tendency of raga and dvesha. Meaning that we relate with the world with either attachment or aversion. That is the nature that we have brought. Thus, human being by nature is the one who will either brand somebody as likable and be attached there, or brand something as unlikable and become averse to that. The attachment is created not because that's somebody, how I perceive that somebody. Aversion is created not because of somebody, how I perceive somebody. So attachments and aversions, I like or dislike, is not the nature of that other things. It is the result of my perception of that entity. If likability was the nature of that entity, everybody would like it, isn't it? If dislikability was the nature of a person, then everybody would dislike. But what I hate, somebody loves, and vice versa. That means that hatred and love are my result of my perception rather than the nature of that person. What will happen? Suppose I become free from raga dvesha, what will happen? You will see the person as the person. Who is that? That is Ishvara. We just learned the first mantra. What is the Ishvara? What is the depriving of the reason, or what is the depriving of the vision of Ishvara? If everything is Ishvara, how come I don't see it that way? Because I have this raga dvesha. I keep on projecting. Anishvaratvam says the Tikakara, that we have projected Anishvaratvam. I look upon Jagat as not Ishvara. Jagat as Jada, as inert, as Dukkha, all sorts of things I look at. The world is Swami, big problem. Watch out. Always a threat. So this is how I look at the world. That is it because the world is like that, or is it my perception of the world? Why is it my perception? Because of my own raga and dveshas. So each one has their perception as molded by their attachments and aversions. So to see the world as it is, what I need to do is to clear my vision. What vision? Vision of my mind, which is right now tainted by, that's called tainted by, colored by my raga, dveshas, attachment and aversion. It's a big thing. Bhagavad Gita, pays a lot of attention to this. Tayorna vasamagachit, tau yasya paripanthino, here Arjuna, do not come under the sway of this raga dvesha, they are our enemies. Kamesha, Lord Krishna says in several places, sometimes raga dvesha, sometimes kama krodha, impulses. And therefore, not only for a mumukshu, for anybody to be happy. This applies to everybody. I can be happy only when I enjoy a mind free from raga dvesha. No, Swamiji, I enjoy, I very often feel happy. I'm watching my favorite movie, watching something. That is when that movie manages to make the mind free from raga dvesha. So something manages to do that. It doesn't always happen. I love ice cream because ice cream has the capacity to make my mind momently free from raga dvesha. So I love that. Who do I love? When I say I love ice cream, who do I love? Ice cream creates in me a lovable self. Because that's only where happiness is. What the ice cream does is, momentarily clears a cloud of raga dveshas and brings to surface my true self, which is happiness. So I'm enjoying, when I'm enjoying ice cream, who am I enjoying? Myself. That's the guarantee. Next time ice cream comes, it's not like last time. Even the same ice cream. But this time it doesn't do that work. So it's not that ice cream can necessarily make me happy, otherwise you will be happy. Just store ice cream in the refrigerator. Every time you feel sad, it doesn't work. Store ice creams, candies, things that you like, and every time you feel, no, I don't want candy. So even there are times I don't want this. Thus, this making the mind free from this impulse. Raga dvesha include all impulses, include the jealousy and hatred, and all of these are included in raga dvesha. That is why it's not only for karma, for each one of us. We have to very consciously strive to use every occasion. Either the occasion can be used to multiply, to increase raga dvesha, or the same occasion also can be used to reduce raga dvesha. That's the wonder. Some attitude becomes the cause for growth of raga dvesha in a given situation. Some other attitude can become the means of reducing raga dvesha. Situations are the same and I am also same. The attitude. Therefore Lord Krishna says, may you have this attitude. So Puja Swami said, what is karma yoga? yoga of attitude. Karma is the same. Perform karma with a given attitude. Of course, word karma, na karma lipyate, na karma word when it is used. Here, Bhashyakara says, karma means what is right to do in a given situation. Karma can be translated as duty, but now those days duty was very clear. I mean, in the Vedic times, everybody was told, that I am a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. Accordingly, the karma was determined, and it was easy for me to determine what is the right thing to do. Today that vyavastha is not there. So we have to decide what is right for me to do. That time people had the benefit that Veda decided for them what was right to do, and so they followed. Today that doesn't apply because that system of varnashrama is not there. And then I have to decide what is my duty. So kurvanne, first line says, kurvanne vehe karmani jiji vishet shatam samaha. Samaha years, shatam samaha 100 years. Jiji vishet. So it is one may one desire to live 100 years. The grammatical construction of that verb jiji vishet is like commanding, may you desire to live 100 years. So the scholars can debate what this mantra tells us, but then is it asking us to live for 100 years? But that's not in our hand. Everybody. 100 years means whatever span of life is given. So yesterday was a question, what does Prarabdha decide for us? Prarabdha decides what is my lifespan. So they used to say that I am born with X number of breaths sticking away. Those breaths are over, gone. So what the yogis do, they control the breath. So suppose you have someone, I don't know, so many million breaths, you reduce the rate of breathing. So what will happen? Same number of breaths are given to you, your lifespan. Anyway, this is a way of saying. But what I am saying is, this is what they say. Whether to be, that is, idea is that we have a limited span of life. What decides it? Whatever decides it. Just as a side remark, I will not say that you are necessarily born with a lifespan at the time of birth. That is prarabdha. There is something called purushartha also. Purushartha means self-effort. It is likely that I can abuse my will, abuse the body, and that is how affect the lifespan. Or I can bless my body and even maybe increase the lifespan. I don't know. So we need not resign in saying that I can't, I have to actively live the life such that it is conducive to longevity. Whatever that is. It may be 60 years, 70, 80. Somebody said, my one is 103 years old. Wonderful. Meaning whatever is lifestyle. Jiji vishet. May you desire to live a full lifespan. Shatam sama 100 years. So, Shatayurvai Purusha, this is a Veda Vachanam. Shatayurvai Purusha, that human being has Shatayu, 100 years. So, there is a statement in the Veda, that's why it is said that may you desire to live 100 years or may you desire to live full span of life. But then, there cannot be a command that you desire to live. Everybody desires to live. Nobody wants to die. So, just technically speaking, Jiji Vishet looks like a command that you should desire to live 100 years, but no, the lifespan is given to me. Therefore, this is not enjoining that you should desire. That if you, so Bhashyakara, if you desire to live, if a person desires to live 100 years, everybody would, not necessarily. A wise person even becomes free from desire to live 100 years or X number of years, because the desire to live comes from identification with the body. The birth also belongs to body, death also belongs to body, and I would say that I was born and I will die when I am identified with the body. So Nare, what is Nare? The last verse is, Bhashyakara said, Naramatra Abhimanini, one who is Abhimanam, one who has this notion that I am a human being, meaning one who is identified with the body. Human being belongs to the body. So therefore one, and who is not identified? We are born, that again that is by default. That we are born with identification with the body. No choice. Nobody had to tell me that this is you. I know. That I am the body is, is by default. Nobody had to teach me that. Meaning that everybody is born with identification of the body, taking body to be a self, that is called Nara. And then he says that the fact that you identify the body, may you desire to live 100 years, means desire to live the full span of life. So the desire to live is not what is important here. Kurvandeveha karmani jijivishe. That may you desire to live a full span of life performing your karma. Kurvan while doing. Karmani while performing karma. May you desire to live your full span of life. Meaning that throughout the life, Yavad jivam agnihotram juhoti. I mean, this is a command that for the whole life you must perform karma. As a human being, it is your duty to perform the karma. So by the word karma is what is meant is duty. This duty is a very unique idea of the Vedas. Idea of duty you do not find elsewhere, as best as I know. Well, I've studied many scriptures, but then I don't think that people had that insight that the Vedic, Vedas have. Idea of duty. Where does the idea of duty come from? Duty means that which I am obliged, obligatory duty, which I am obliged to do. By duty we mean obligatory duty. That every human being is obliged. From the birth, we are born with obligation. Jayamanavi Brahmana Tribhe Runavan Jayate. It says that even if the person is born, he is born with threefold debt or fivefold DEBT debt. Means Runam. Called Runam means debt. Meaning that we are born with fivefold debt. That is what? That means that some favor has already been done to us. That means returning the favor that has been done to me. If I borrowed from you 100 rupees, then I am indebted to you to return that. So apparently, without our knowing or without any attempt on our part, we already borrowed, we are already indebted. See, this is the Vedic way of looking at human life. In what way are you indebted? Indebted to devatas, to pitrus, to rishis, to other human beings, to all other creatures. We are indebted to the whole universe. Because the whole universe is contributing in sustaining my life. Is it not so? You can see how eco-friendly vision this is. Environmentally friendly vision. That's the reason why India is in the best position to even tell the world. This global warming business, they want to solve that problem of global warming. Everybody knows global warming. How do they want to solve that problem? Technologically. We'll create alternative source of energy. This is fusion and fission and stuff. So all these, Right now we are producing energy from coal and stuff like that, which is polluting the universe. So reduce that and create alternative source of energy like solar energy, wind energy, etc., and hydraulic, which do not use this fossil fuel. So as far as West, this is just by the way. As far as West is concerned, the way to deal with the problem of global warming is a technical solution they provide, that you reduce the dependence upon the fossil fuel, alternate sources, clean energy, so that producing energy does not produce pollution. What does India say? India says that reduce consumption. You need so much energy because you are consuming so much. Human beings in the West, they have houses, they are huge houses, heated in winter, cooled in summer. So much energy intensive life we are living. You consume so much food. Consume meat, by the way. It's a very energy consuming food. This I am saying just by the way. Because to understand the harmony or the relation that we have with the world, the most violent thing that we can do is to consume meat. Somebody in Japan worked out that 1 kilogram of meat is equal to the fuel spent in running a car at 85 miles an hour for 3 hours. The amount of energy spent is the energy required in 1 kilogram of meat when it comes to your plate. Don't eat meat. That cannot happen. We can't change the more. Simple thing, reduce your meat consumption to half. That will solve the problem. That we cannot do. You don't ask us to change our way of life. Hey, consumption is the problem, not this. Pollution is out of consumption. Because you produce all this kind of pollution, because you need more energy, because you consume more. You don't realize that a piece of meat is energy. Or whatever you are consuming is all energy indirectly. It doesn't come to you free in your, table, dining table. That we can't do. We can't give up our luxury. We cannot give our consumption. You don't ask us to change our way of life. But we will continue to use that power. But you develop technology to reduce pollution during recreation of producing power. This is their solution. India said, hey, reduce consumption to meat half, if not total. That will solve the problem? No. So we do not realize how we are related to the universe and how we are affecting the whole universe by the way we live, the attitudes that we have. This is called attitude of consumption. And success today is more you consume, more success. Which economy is successful? What do they encourage? Today's capitalistic economic system encourages consumption. You're very happy. During Deepavali and Christmas, a lot of things a lot of good shopping, a lot of cars are sold, that they're happy, because that means prosperity. Then you produce more, and so on and so forth. Whole thing is wrong. To judge the prosperity of the country by consumption is absolutely wrong. Because more you consume, you're depleting the limited source of energy and creating a lot of pollution and problems for yourself. Why am I saying all this? Just to point out how we are intrinsically related to the universe. That what we do affects the universe, and therefore you cannot live your life as you want. You take into account what effect you have upon the universe about what you are doing and what you are consuming. So that's all part of your attitude. To recognize this idea of duty comes from this. A recognition of the interconnection, interdependence that we have. How we are dependent upon the universe and that universe is dependent upon us. We may not realize, but we can hurt the whole system, we can help the whole system. That is called free will. Human being, nare, human being that's called human being who enjoys free will, who has freedom of choice. All creatures other than human beings are already in harmony, always in harmony. They're programmed to be in harmony. No creature will disturb the ecological balance. They will not pollute. They will not contribute to global warming. They won't contribute. They are in harmony. Only human being is responsible because he has the freedom to abuse. He has the freedom to abuse the order. There is a harmony, there is an order existing in the universe. What is meant by duty is performing an action that is in keeping with that harmony. So the concept of duty comes from this. Look at Veda's vision. When the Vedas are asking us, do this or don't do that, do this means if you perform an action in this way, you will be in harmony with the universe. Doing that way, you will disturb the harmony. Vidhi and Nisheda. Vidhi, do's. Nisheda, don'ts. Now, it is difficult for us to decide what action will be in harmony, so we depend upon the Vedas. Our Shraddha is that Vedas are the expressions of Ishvara, omniscience. So they know, they only have that vision. So in the olden days, it was easy for us to live a life in keeping commands of Veda, but today we don't have that benefit. So today we have to decide what is that action which will be in harmony with the universal order, which is the action that will violate that harmony. Kurvan nevehe karmani, therefore perform. Not just karma means, it doesn't just mean any action, just action. Karma means this action called duty, which is an action that is performed in harmony with the universal order. That's what Veda teaches us. How do I know what is harmony? Simple. Therefore, follow the values. Ahimsa. Non-violence is the primary value. Perform action so that you don't hurt or you minimize the hurt. You can't live a life without some violence, unfortunately. That's how the nature is. One life depends upon other life. So even if we advise them to consume, not consume meat, you will continue to consume at least vegetables, etc. But that also involves some violence, much less than violence that is involved in killing others. So minimize violence. And may you live a life in harmony. Meaning do what, that simply say, do what is right. What is right? A consumer violates the harmony. Who contributes? A contributor contributes to harmony. There are two ways now. In putting in Pujya Swamiji's words, the attitude of a consumer who is a consumer? One for whom self-gratification matters. What is self-gratification? I do what I want to do, what I like to do. To make my ego happy, to gratify my sense organs, gratify my ego, gratify myself. That's the self-centered attitude, which also human being has. Therefore he needs to be told, other creatures don't need this because they are automatically in harmony. They don't do anything to violate the harmony. They consume, but only what is required. You cannot survive without consumption, so you cannot eliminate consumption. But creatures other than human beings also consume only what is needed by them, no more. That means there is a limited resources, and all creatures take only what they need, leaving rest for resources with others. Only human being has the freedom to take more, his lion more than his share, by what we call consumption, which means wasting things, which means that being motivated by this raga dvesha. When I do that, I am a consumer. Raga dvesha, products of ego. Therefore, whenever my action is prompted by raga dveshas, it is for self-gratification. It is an action which can be called action prompted by the sense of consumption. Then I am not in harmony in the universe. Then what matters is mine, myself. Therefore, perform an action in harmony, which will be when it is not raga dveshas that decide, something else will decide. What? The sense of harmony. Not consumption, but the contribution. So perform an action in the spirit of contributing. What is contribution? That not satisfying my raga dveshas, satisfying others' raga, universal raga, Ishvara's raga dvesha. Ishvara is raga dvesha, Swamiji. Do what Ishvara would like you to do. Ishvara doesn't have, but still you can say, Ishvara doesn't like, when the satyam vada dharmam chara, looks like Ishvara likes satya, doesn't like asatya. Dharmam chara, they say, Ishvara likes dharma, not adharma. So Ishvara also has likes and dislikes, you can say. As for Vedas, satyam vada dharmam chara, naim syat sarva bhutani, etc. Don't hurt anybody. So these are the commands from Veda, meaning that these are commands that are expressing here the obtaining harmony, that for you to act in keeping harmony, may you speak truth. Naim syat sarva bhutani, may you not hurt anybody. Dharmam chara, may you do what is right. So this is called attitudes that are taught to us. Kurvannevehe karmani jijivishet shatam samaha. May you desire to live your full span of life while performing duties with this attitude. Nalipyate, then you will not be tainted. Otherwise, you will be tainted. We'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.